president has been disrespecting Israel. And I listened to Benjamin Netanyahu speak down in Washington a few months ago. And they as much as said that if it isn't done by November, they're going to take care of it. I think it's going to happen before then. I think if North Korea moves, I think you'll see Israel strike within a day, because they'll use that as a tremendous diversion. As the world looks over here, they're going to go smite Iran, which I think they should do. Those three priorities, we've got to start working at cutting the federal spending. Okay, you've got to build a group of voters in that Congress that believe you can and that you must. And again, our whole constitutional system is not designed for rapid radical swings. So it's going to be an incremental thing. First, stop increasing the spending. Can we get a balanced budget amendment through the Constitution? Probably not for the next 3 to 5 years, and we can't sustain what we're doing. John Kasich spent 13 years to get a balanced budget amendment through the House rules, not constitutional amendment. And so the point is, we have to send people down there that understand ways and means, taxes, that understand government finance. The other thing I tell people is this: if we cut federal spending, okay, we're going to have to cut federal income tax rates, personally. And the reason for that is, in every town in this state, my small town of Warren, population 900 plus or minus, your town of Salem, Concord, 60,000, whatever it is, in every single aspect of your town and school governance, there's federal money. In your water systems, in your sewage treatment plants, in your highways, in your schools. And so, if you were to say we're going to cut federal spending, that's great, but we've got to return to you, the taxpayer at the local level, the funds to sustain the debts that we've incurred using that federal largesse. And so, yeah, we're going to work real hard to get that federal tax cut so you can get it and spend it on your local, at the local level where it's best controlled. We have the best control of our budgets at the local level, as my experience has taught me, and I'm sure anyone that's ever been in government says. The further away from the town you get, the less control you have over it. So, I mean, it's a complicated process. You start out with the basics. The basics are, we're spending too much, let's start cutting. Back to those areas: agriculture, energy, education, GSA, and the EPA. Again, incrementally. It's going to take a long time to do it. It's going to hurt. Yes, sir. Donna? No question?
Talk to us about immigration.
Very simple, and it's not a hard problem.
Why haven't this solved it yet? It's not
well,
hard.
because they've politicized. And what's happening, I wrote an op-ed and it would put up on my website. What this president is trying to, well, let me give my position before I have time. My wife and I sent one of our 2 sons-in-law off to Afghanistan over Easter weekend. We were down in Arizona at Fort Huachuca, which is just north of the Mexican border. While we're at Denny's having breakfast, a INS truck and 2 police cars pull up and arrest 4 Mexican gang members selling heroin right there in the parking lot. Right there. All right? The problem with immigration is not so much that we've got illegal immigrants coming in and working. It's that we've got illegal criminal gangs and enterprises coming in and just trashing. 25% of Arizona's state inmates in the state prisons are illegal immigrants. Major crimes. 34,000 felonies committed by illegal immigrants in Arizona last year. So the position is this: if you don't have a wall, you don't have a border. Just that simple. Build a wall. If we can put a man on the moon in 10 years in 1969, we can certainly build a wall, of course, 1,900 miles of border, and a wall that's sufficient enough to be a real barrier. Right? You build a wall. You must also reduce or eliminate the Social Security and government benefit incentives for illegal immigrants to come here so that they can have a baby here, and that baby's now a citizen, and that gives you Social Security until you're 18. You have to go back to Mexico. It's like, we've been pandering it for what? We're a nation of laws, or we're not. And right now, we don't have a border. Another thing that we must do, those that are in the country illegally, I was an FBI agent for a few years. I know how to go hunt people down. That's what we did, whether they were drug dealers or burglars or robbers or whatever. And the point is that we don't have enough resources to go find 13 or 15 or whatever the number is, millions of people. Okay? And so to say that we're going to go find them and we're going to get rid of them is irresponsible, because it doesn't understand how big of a problem it really is. But we will find lots of these people through normal government, when they apply for things, or through traffic stops, or through criminal interdictions. Anybody that's a criminal goes over the border, goes their term and goes over the border, and they don't come back. If we catch someone that's an illegal immigrant, My position is, we're sorry that it's uncomfortable, but you have stolen our birthright. And you're going back to Mexico or Haiti or Jamaica or whatever it might be. You and your family are being repatriated out to back where you were, and you can get in line and apply. That said, our immigration process is an absolute disaster. It is a hideous bureaucracy, and it has been compounded by the security concerns of international terrorists trying to get in. But it can be streamlined, and it must be streamlined. It can be much quicker, it can be much more accurate, much more careful if we overhaul the agency and the process. Okay? And that's in the purview of Congress to do that. Pass bills and pass the laws that say here's how we're going to do it. The problems always come. And Chuck, I know, and Donna, you can vouch for this. Remember that little thing called JELCAR? You passed the legislation, and then once it came time to implement the regulations for it, many times, I mean, there was one situation in our state here where the DES went 180 out from the intentions of the legislation, and we had to call them on it. And so it's incumbent on those in Congress to pass laws that direct and limit the ability of agencies, okay, to change things to bend them to their own political agendas. And that's that simple. So immigration is a pretty easy problem to solve. You just have to have the guts to do it.
Social Security.
Okay.
Numbers are out that the obligations, we have a somewhere to $53 trillion unfunded obligation. If you cut back on those programs, you alienate your constituency and kill yourself in the polls. So what are we going to do to shore that up?
A promise made is a promise that must be kept. And so people that are under the existing Social Security system need to be taken care of. It's that simple. However, there's nothing that says that Congress can't pass a law that says, starting January 1st of 2014, you're not under Social Security anymore if you're born that day or later. So you start a different system. Now, there are much smarter people than I financially who can articulate what that system might be, but the fact is we're looking at a systemic problem that's produced a drastic failure that's imploding. So we've got to just recalculate the benefits, if at all, because entitlement programs are killing us, to stop Social Security as we know it for anyone born past a certain day, and develop a rational way, for example, reducing the payroll taxes to half of what they are now, okay, to sustain the people on the system as it is as they dwindle, and those numbers dwindle down until ultimately they're all gone. It's just that simple. There is a simple answer. It's not a politically nice one, but someone's going to have to pay for it. And so if we were to say, for example, you cut the payroll taxes by 50% on anyone born after January 1st of 2015, or pick a date, what you do is you allow a stream of money to continue, okay? Albeit people paying for something that they didn't buy, but you know what? There's a lot that goes on in government. A lot of us pay taxes for things we don't want, we don't believe the government should be doing. So it's just, you've got to solve this thing incrementally. This is the date we stop Social Security as we know it. Anyone born after that date, when they reach working age, will pay half of the payroll taxes for however long it takes to expunge the debt and bring the system to a zero. Actuarially, it's doable, very doable. Is it palatable? Is it politically popular? No, but you know, someone somewhere's got to stand up and say, here's a way to fix this thing. And else, it's going to fix itself.